Peace and blessings, everyone. My name is Aura Aru, and I am so grateful that you have decided to join me on this journey through grief. I'm going to read the meditation 3 times, the affirmation 3 times to you, and you can take this moment in time to just breathe in gently but as deeply as possible. The breath is a diaphragmatic one. And so, but a little different. What I'd like for you to try to do is breathe deeply from the belly, like let the belly poke out. And I know we're all used to doing it the other way for a lot of different exercises and techniques. For this one, you breathe out and release, because the body of one who is going through transition or grief is very tense often. So poke it out, let it loose, let it fill with air. And when that has gone to full capacity, then you allow your chest to rise and fill from there. And then the next step is to breathe out. Now this is the internals that are going on. And you're going to breathe out all the way down to nothing. And then breathe back in. What you're doing externally is you're either breathing with your mouth closed, breathing through your nose. For those who have challenges with their in-breath because of deviated septums and all kinds of things that could make that a little bit harder to do, I offer that you take a different breath through the mouth, and you can do this with the nose or the mouth, is to breathe inward in 3 staggered breaths. So it looks like this. Notice that the shoulders don't jump up until I'm getting into the chest. Ooh. And making a noise and moving the body around while you're releasing the breath just lets you, allows you to breathe out a little bit more. Here's the affirmation. Breathe in. I release the need to control my grieving process. I surrender to its natural flow. I release the need to control my grieving process. I surrender to its natural flow. I release the need to control my grieving process. I allow it to flow naturally. I surrender to its natural flow. And here is the affirmation for you to screenshot real quick if you need to. And there's a few things I want to explain while you're looking and or breathing or doing your clicks. This book, and I believe the process, can intentionally move you through emotions that can be guided by those stages. Let me try to explain what I mean. Remember when earlier in the process, and we're at a week of it, so congratulations if you have been here for all of it, most of it, or a little bit of it, or this is your first time. Still, congratulations, you are here, and that means you're on the path. I talked about the stages of grief that are traditionally known, but I also gave you an opportunity to go beyond those stages. I'm going to add a little bit of structure to that only to help you move through it, not to control your journey. So, along with the stages are the phases. Trying to control the grieving process is like trying to lasso a river. That's mine. You can quote me. It is impossible. And so what you can do, because you can't control it, but you can acknowledge it, give it voice, and navigate with it to move through the process. So for instance, let's say you're stuck at anger. And anger might have you repeating your trauma a lot. Sort of like that guy in the scriptures who was crippled and by the river Beautiful, complaining about his situation. And even when asked by Yeshua to, if he wanted to be healed, all he could do was give his story and not really answer the question. We can get stuck. And gently, we can let ourselves out of this by acknowledging first what's really at the core of it. Anger. What do I need? That question keeps coming up. What do I require now? And go towards getting that accomplished, what you need to acquire. That's where your grieving process, your transitional journey can become authentically you and be whole, like as in holistic, complete, because you're not just following rigid stages. You're using them like tools, like the structural tools I believe they were meant to be. And you're gathering more of you to put in here through your acknowledgement, through your willingness to give it a voice, and through your willingness to navigate with it. And the part that's most important to this particular affirmation is the word surrender. That's why I have it underlined. We have a lot of ideas about surrender, and often they seem, the ideas that we have around it, we kind of hold in a space of, I just got to do nothing. Surrendering is not doing nothing. Surrendering is allowing truth to come up. Surrendering is letting go of the requirement or need or reflex because of a belief system to do things a certain way, even if it doesn't fulfill you or make you comfortable. So, surrender is a real activity. And for those of us who have challenges with control, it's a big one. So, I invite you to use this opportunity, this first phase within our process and in this book, to truly acknowledge the real place you are, let go of all of the supposed for a little while, to give yourself an opportunity to do it your way. That would be my gift to you today, would be freedom. Freedom to express in the way that you need to express without harm to others. As long as it makes you feel better for however long it makes you feel better. Just remember one thing that pretty much everyone can attest to when going through the process of transitional shifting and grieving. Sometimes in being so involved in that, we forget really practical things. I can't tell you how many people I've supported through a grief process who said something like, I can't believe it, but I forgot to brush my teeth, like for a week. And be embarrassed about that, and or not change their clothes, or forget to do certain things that would be considered like basic caretaking of oneself, and they slip at them. That is not a time for shaming. That is a time for gathering you up, loving you enough to stop, slow down, and do those basic things for yourself, even if you're grieving while you're doing them. Do them anyway, because they'll bring you a little closer to center, and they'll make you feel better for a little while. Okay? All right. So, Last thing is just a moment for you to be in you. And I keep going back and forth. I want to drum, I want to tone. I want to drum, I want to tone. So we're going to tone first. And we're going to do it with 3 very specific chakra tuning forks. This particular batch, the other ones were about glands. These are about chakras. So we're going to do the root. We're going to do the throat. And we're going to do the heart. And we're going to strike them with 528 hertz DNA repair, because we would like this to go all the way down to the DNA in its clearing and shifting and beyond to particle. Okay? So I'm just going to tone them 3 times and say the affirmation for you. Root chakra. I release the need to control my grieving process. I surrender to its flow. Throat. I release the need to control my grieving process. I surrender to its natural flow. Heart. I release the need to control my grieving process. I surrender to its natural flow. Take some time today and just be really good to yourself. Peace and blessings.